Hi, dreamers. Thank you for learning with us today on Dream Speak. I'm Rika.
And I'm Thomas.
And this is the podcast about dreams that teaches you a complete system to help you listen to your dreams and get the guidance they're providing you every day.
The dream we have for you today is about shifting a mindset of lack to one of abundance. Without further ado, gas, wine, and celebrities.
So, Thomas, you had a dream the other night you wanted to share?
I had a dream about my brother, and he had given me a tip on a gas station where I could get gas that was going to be cheaper. And so I was excited. Then I was driving around looking for it, and I pulled in to fill up my tank and realized that it was exactly normal price. And I found it very strange because my brother had been excited to buy gas there. So I was wondering about that. And the dream abruptly changed to being about wine and me being curious to why wasn't there a wine that made regular people feel pompous and excited to spend $10 or $11 for a glass instead of, $6 or $7 for a glass. And then it transitioned to me thinking about a really established female Hollywood star. And I'm not sure who it was. It could have been, someone like Meryl Streep, but it wasn't necessarily Meryl Streep. And she was taking an Expo dry erase marker and putting black freckles on one side of her face. So it was pretty strange, like dreams often are. The reason that my brother is an aspect in this dream has to do with the fact that I have tremendous respect and admiration for him. Being a much older sibling, he took on a bit of a father figure role and really took me under his wing. That was a huge contribution to my life. But beyond that, he's continued to be very generous with his time with everybody in the family. When they need him, he's always there and really consistently there. And I think I desire to emulate that quality. What I take from my brother's presence as an aspect in this dream, and because he's male and his gender matches mine, I identify as male. That means that he's going to be an aspect of my consciousness, or an aspect of the part of me that I use when I'm awake, the things that I feel like I'm in control of. That sort of thing is what we mean by conscious aspects. This is something that I'm trying to live up to. And the symbolism of gas, as in gas you put in a car, is really important in this dream. And it basically has to do with energy, like the energy that we use to live our lives. So as we move around in the dream world, we might see a symbol of gasoline to indicate when our energy in life is fluctuating or changing in some way. I've been focused a lot on thinking about selfless service in my life as an aspiration. So here's my brother showing up to reinforce that idea. But I've been feeling really run down. I actually recently got a cold, and that issue has come to the fore in this dream because it's kind of a moment of clarity, or a transition moment for me right now. And what it's trying to urge me to do is work towards transitioning from a paradigm where I feel like I have to protect and conserve my energy, instead to a paradigm more like my brother's behavior, which is, even though the gas isn't on sale, I feel so abundant, and I feel like it is. I feel like I got this great deal. If I plug into source in a way that I'm giving to others in an extremely generous and loving way, my cup will be refilled. It'll happen automatically. It's a bit of a philosophical message about the nature of the universe. And it's a goal that I've been exploring, and I think this is trying to tell me to go for it. That would be a great emphasis for my year. That's what I would take from the gasoline and from the presence of my brother telling me where to buy it. What do you think of that?
That sounds like it's a good fit. I also remember the morning you had that dream was the day that you got sick.
Yep, there you go. So this is the kind of thing I was asking for guidance on. And then the wine and the female celebrity, they both have a very related significance, and it's reinforcing the interpretation that we're already using. With the wine, it's about sensuality and it's about materialism. Those things don't bring lasting fulfillment.
and wine or any alcohol or drugs in a dream represent you giving up your willpower.
That's a really good point, because I really think this is all about finding ways to channel my willpower in an ultimately satisfying way. That's why it brings in the symbolism of surrendering willpower. It's taking away potential satisfaction if I push my willpower off in that direction instead, towards materialism. And then with the female celebrity, I'm pretty sure that she was a person who really cared about true self-expression, but then got wrapped up in a rat race. And so then she was chasing after youth. And I've talked to you a lot about the fact that one of my themes for this year is just building a mature perspective on the fact that I'm arriving at midlife and kind of reassessing what have I accomplished with, the first half of my life, and what do I want to do with the middle of my life. But it's telling me I maybe have a tendency to look backwards and grasp onto those things from being young. So I think those are a couple of pointers for me. What do you think might be appropriate next steps given what we figured out about this dream?
Well, I think that this dream is showing you that you need to be more mindful and aware of when you are grasping for materialism or being in a lack of abundance mentality or grasping for youth.
Yeah, those sound like really good next steps. And I think I know where to go from here. And we'll see if we have any more dreams about this.
Stay with us, because after the bell, we'll be taking you behind the dreams. Welcome back. This is Behind the Dreams, where we share the secrets we use every day to understand our dreams.
Let's talk a little bit more about how we figured this dream out.
Sounds good.
We could just start by talking about how we break a dream down in the first place.
Well, there are certain parts of the dream that help you more easily figure the dream out. And those are usually the people or aspects of us. And so we look at the different aspects in the dream. And then we also look at the different elements that are in the dream. There's some distinct symbols in this dream. We'll look at the symbols and the aspects first to help give us a clue.
What symbols or aspects did you notice in this dream?
Well, for symbols, there was gas, there was wine, and there were freckles on the celebrity. That was unique. For the aspects, your brother was a very important aspect, and the celebrity.
Great. So there are basically two main parts to our mind. There's the conscious part of our mind that we use to make decisions when we're awake, that we use to think, the kind of critical thinking aspects we all rely on at our jobs, making decisions about our daily life. And there's our subconscious mind, which, as it turns out, we believe here at DreamSpeak is much more powerful, but it's also more mysterious. It drives a lot of our underlying motivations, keeps us moving through our life, makes us ask bigger questions. But in a dream, one of the most helpful things is that aspects show up to reveal to us things that are going on in our subconscious, motivations we might have that would be subconscious. Those things can be revealed. And this dream has that trait. So my brother, he constitutes a conscious aspect because I identify as male and his gender is male. The celebrity was female, and because her gender is opposite to mine, she represents an aspect of my subconsciousness that I maybe wasn't aware of before this dream.
Yes. So why don't you delve into your brother a bit?
So my brother is somebody I admire a lot. Because that jumped out right away, I didn't really have to think hard to come up with his qualities. But that's what we always do. When we're trying to figure out what part a person in a dream plays, what aspect of us it's representing, we try to make a list of 3 qualities that we see as connected to that part of ourselves in the dream. With my brother, I knew right away it was really about one big thing, and that was his quality of helpfulness, kindness, compassion, those kinds of traits, and then also a spirit of abundance that I see in my brother. So those were really the only two qualities I needed to get the main idea with my brother. The thing that's interesting about him, and I won't go into a great deal of depth now, but there is a third very important and powerful part to our mind that we call the superconsciousness. Now, what we mean when we say that is a little bit counterintuitive because it's actually deeper down even than the subconsciousness. We consider it the source of our very being, the ground of our being. Where are we coming from as human beings? And my brother has a hybrid significance. He represents a part of my conscious mind, something that's a part of what I use to cope with daily life and make decisions. That's the part of my brother that I want to activate, being more compassionate, being more generous with my time. Those are day-to-day things. But because he took on such a father figure role in my childhood, he also has resonance to me as a superconscious aspect, which means that when I think about him, I'm also thinking about the way that I think our universe works and whether I think our universe is a fair place, whether I think our universe is a happy place. And what this message is telling me from a superconscious point of view is that my brother is showing me that I believe there is a positive and happy nature to the universe when I really employ a spirit of abundance in my life day to day. It helps me feel better about the world in which I live.
That's a really great analysis. For me, the superconscious is, you called it how we relate to the universe, but for me, it's how we relate to a higher power or that which animates us. So I think of that as God, sometimes the universe. Everybody looks at that part of them differently. So we all call it by different names.
So the other aspect that was present was this celebrity. This was a part of me in my subconscious that is kind of grasping at youth. We talked about the theme of midlife in the analysis. When I saw her drawing freckles on her face, I knew that that symbol was going to be a clue about youth. Well, how did I know that? Basically, every symbol and every person in a dream has a universal significance that we all share.
And a personal significance. What it means to us individually, how we relate to that particular symbol in our life specifically.
Right. And so, for other people, freckles might be about fond memories of going to the beach. I don't know. But for me, it was just about the idea that I connect them to younger people. And this woman was, not young anymore. And so it was this grasping, the act of drawing it. I could just tell right away that that's what that symbol was going to mean.
Right.
So we've covered the aspects now. We can talk about the gasoline filling up the tank and wine. Which of those things you want to talk about first?
Well, I could talk about wine. Any type of alcohol or drugs in a dream symbolizes our giving away of our willpower. That can show up in different ways, but it always really has the same meaning.
Right. And then on that personal level, we figured out that wine to me was about materialism. It was about sensuality, just enjoying material things with no real thought to what's really important in life.
So what about the gas? Do you want to talk about the gas?
Yeah, gas, I like that symbol a lot because I think it's very straightforward. Things like that, gasoline, diesel, propane, whatever, potentially electricity, they're all going to symbolize energy. And energy is what makes everything in our world go. It's that simple. And so then I needed to look for a message about why energy would apply to this dream. And as we talked about in the analysis, I had come down with a cold right around I think it was the morning of this dream we established. And so then it was clear, connecting back to my waking life, that the gasoline was about my fluctuating energy level. And this message was going to be a comment on how I could draw greater stores of energy into my life if I was willing to change my paradigm and my way of looking at things.
To be more like your brothers.
Exactly. And that's really where we tie back to that superconscious aspect of my brother when he shows up in a dream.
So to recap, looking at the symbols of gas, wine, and freckles and how they relate to the aspects of your brother and the celebrity helped us to figure this dream out and helped you to figure out what your next step should be.
Thank you all very much for joining us on DreamSpeak, and we look forward to learning with you more in another episode.
You can find this podcast on all popular streaming services. Connect with DreamSpeak for even more learning. Our socials are in the description. Check out our YouTube channel for a free introductory dream course. Our theme music was composed by me, Rika. This podcast does not constitute medical advice. If you have concerns about your well-being, talk to your doctor or a mental health professional.